The Andes, the longest mountain chain on the planet. All the elements of nature are present here. Creating a unique nature paradise. Bizarre and yet imposingly beautiful. However varied the landscape, it's always influenced by this one mountain range. All forms of life find a natural habitat here. Torres del Paine is one of the most spectacular mountain ranges of the Andes. It's the majestic center of the eponymous national park in southern Chile. The striking granite peaks soar almost 3,000 meters into the skies. The steep slopes and wide valleys are home to grazing guanacos. Local Indio law says that the mountains are their shepherd, watching over them constantly with eyes of stone. Guanacos are the wild cousins of the llama, essential companions to the Andean inhabitants. They live in small family herds. The alpha male keeps a vigilant eye on his little group. Their thick coat and tasty meat has always made them a favorite target for hunters, so much so that they have become virtually extinct in many parts of South America. But today, in the Torres del Paine National Park, they have nothing to fear, and their numbers are rising steadily. There is no other animal as closely associated with this area as the guanaco. It could almost be called the king of the Andes, were it not for this creature, the largest vulture in the world. The Andean condor, lord of the skies. With a wingspan of over 3 meters, they glide on the updrafts high above the mountain peaks. Seemingly weightless, they can reach heights of up to 7 kilometers. The remains of this guanaco no longer interest the scavengers. They've obviously been lying around for too long. The guanacos have adapted to the harsh conditions of life in the mountains. Like all camelids, guanacos ruminate their food to make the tough grass more digestible. The mighty granite massif of the Paine Mountains indicate how formidable the forces were that millions of years ago created the range of fold mountains that is the Andes. The peaks are often veiled by dense cloud and are only revealed when powerful winds blow the cloud away. In the high altitudes of the Andes, the nights are often crystal clear. The moon and stars seem to be almost within reach. In the early hours of dawn, the famous silhouette of Mount Fitzroy is revealed in all its glory. At its feet lies the largest ice field in South America, the Campo de Hielo Sur. Its glaciers fill valleys to the east and west of the Andes. The enormous ice mass of the Perito Moreno Glacier creeps forward about a meter a day, until it reaches the Lago Argentino, the biggest freshwater lake in Argentina. At the glacier's 60-meter-high edge, large pieces break off continuously and plunge into the lake. Some 2,000 kilometers to the north on the Pacific western side of the Andes lies the Valdivia Rainforest. In the cool, damp climate, lush vegetal cover flourishes, absorbing the frequent rainfall like a sponge. When it isn't raining, clouds of steam envelop the treetops. The dense green wilderness seems almost enchanted. It's home to nearly as many species as a tropical rainforest, and some of its flora and fauna is not to be found anywhere else in the world. Fed by the moisture in the air, the plants, and the earth, little brooks are transformed into rushing waterfalls. There are over 700 species of plant that can only be found in this spot on Earth. The Valdivia Rainforest is one of the few rainforests outside the tropics. But even this paradise is in danger. Much of the forest has already been cleared, and mankind is advancing on the rest. Oblivious to this, austral parakeets indulge in their cool daily shower to groom their plumage. In Europe, these birds are mostly found only in aviaries. Here they can enjoy unbounded freedom. One of the primary features of the Valdivia Rainforest is its unusual trees. These Araucaria trees, for instance, can live up to 2,000 years. They're among the oldest trees on Earth. Here in the shadow of the Andes is where they originated, although they're grown all over the world as ornamental plants. The Andean fir, or monkey puzzle tree as it's also called, is resilient. its twigs are covered with hard leaves, each of them sporting a thorn at the end. It's this resistance that makes it popular with gardeners, just like the fuchsia, which grows in its shade. The araucaria's thick bark protects it from fire and heat. Despite the damp climate, this is important, as the habitat here is under constant threat from volcanic eruptions. Fire and ice, typical of the Andes. Countless volcanoes, such as the glacier-covered Villarrica, are still active today. About 2,500 kilometers further north, there's also still plenty of volcanic activity. Like harbingers of hell, geysers spew out their hot contents into the icy air. At over 4,000 meters above sea level lies this extreme landscape. The geyser field of the El Tazio volcano. The water emerging from the geysers and the underground hot springs can be up to 100 degrees centigrade. The territory couldn't be more hostile. And yet, even here, life abounds. A young vicuña stays close to its mother's side as she forages along the stony edges of the hot springs. The vicuña's fur is thicker than that of the guanaco and protects it from the icy cold. The Andean plateau also features saltwater lagoons that can form the backdrop to some unusual balletic performances. A Chilean flamingo rotates gracefully on its own axis, but will happily perform a pas de deux with an Andean flamingo. Its rhythmical steps churn up the mud at the bottom of the lake, and with it, the microorganisms that they feed on. Their bills have fine gill-like structures that act like a sieve, filtering the salt water which flows back out of their bills. The microorganisms stay behind. Nutritious salt crabs and algae are their staple diet, and they can even drink the saline water too. Despite their delicate appearance, flamingos are extremely hardy. Even the cold climate in the Andes doesn't harm these winged dancers. The southwestern part of the plateau is extremely arid. Outside the rainy season, the Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat, is a white, crystalline desert with precious treasures. White gold. There's up to 10 million tons of salt here. The Atacama is the driest desert in the world, stretching from the highest inland mountain peaks of the Andes to the Pacific coastline. Here, the warm air rising from the land meets the cold waters of the Humboldt Current, creating coastal fog. Thanks to this wonderful phenomenon, life-giving moisture is carried to the arid coastal slopes. The damp air is then precipitated onto plants in fine pearls of moisture. Especially in ridged areas of the coastland, this has formed subtropical cloud forests. Exotic plants thrive in all their beauty, although it virtually never rains. Further inland, it's arid, and undemanding columnar cactuses and succulents abound. The burrowing owl's plumage blends in with its surroundings almost perfectly. The camouflage allows it to spot its prey unobserved. Its attention has been drawn by a dagu. It usually takes only a few wing beats to grab the little rodent, but this time he misses. Burrowing owls nest and live on the ground. Their burrows are about a meter deep and are often inhabited by several pairs of owls at a time. To the east of the Andes lies the Argentinian Pampas. Endless grass steppes convey a sense of solitude. Open landscapes like this are a favorite habitat for the Patagonian fox. And its favorite prey, the mara. Maras are native only to Argentina. In a tribute to its long legs and ears, it's also known as the Patagonian hare. Mara breeding pairs stay together for life, unusual for mammals. The fox has already sensed their presence. But thirst can sometimes be more urgent than caution. Maras normally stay in the shelter of the undergrowth, wary of their enemies. Even when they're drinking, they're constantly vigilant, fleeing at the first sign of an approaching enemy. All this fox can do is find easier prey. For a while, the Patagonian hare is safe. And before it goes back to nibbling the grasses, herbs and bushes of the pampas, it grabs the chance of a quick nap. Like prickly statues, the cacti tower upwards, giving the landscape here in the shadow of the Andes a distinctive skyline. The bizarre rock formations look almost like modern sculpture. But no mortal hand could have carved anything more beautiful in stone than the wind, water, and sun have created here over the centuries. At the southernmost tip of the continent, the foothills of the Andes end in the sea. Its barren coast is home to large colonies of Magellanic penguins. Heads held high, penguins master the rather difficult trek to the ocean. Well, most of the time. Mating calls echo across the Patagonian coast. September is the mating season for Magellanic penguins. Each pair keeps a beady eye on its burrow. The male sticks doggedly to his lady's side. But just prior to her laying her eggs, a closer inspection of the burrow takes top priority. He can only hope that the burrow he's chosen will gain her approval, and he sticks to what he does best. He puts back his head and calls. Magellanic penguins feed mainly on fish, squid and krill. Once they get to the water, penguins are in their element. They plunge head first into the swells. The seas off the southern tip of the South American continent are rough. Meter-high waves gather and smash against the shore. This penguin farewell is almost tender. An unusual encounter of a South American kind. The green coastal bush proved irresistible to the guanaco. Juicy grass is scarce in the steppes. Even Darwin's rheas hunt for seeds, plants and insects here. Rheas and guanacos often live in close proximity to each other. A combination of the sharp eyes of the flightless birds and the guanaco's finely tuned sense of smell are an excellent early warning system that often benefits the penguins too. A colony of South American sea lions. They're far away and pose no direct threat to the penguin colony. Baby sea lions take to the water soon after birth. They learn the all-important skill of swimming in the sheltered shallows. It's not unusual to find colonies of over 100 animals. It's no easy task finding your mum in a crowd like this. Just like any other babies, the first thing they do is cry as loudly as possible. The mother calls, and her scent leads the pup back to the safety of her presence. While the mother is out hunting, the pups are looked after in a kind of nursery. Plentiful fish and a sheltered beach make this coast a veritable sea lion paradise. The southernmost foothills of the Andes are here on the Tierra del Fuego Islands. Countless rivers and fjords cross the archipelago like lifelines. It's the breeding season and food is in short supply. The black-crowned night heron is forced to hunt for food by day, too. The wind. It's the indisputable lord of the island of Tierra del Fuego. After its deserts, rainforests, steppes and glaciers, the multifaceted nature paradise of the Andes begins and ends here.